Alrighty. And welcome back to another episode of the What's Going On People podcast. My name is Derek Peterson. This is episode 11. Here with me is Nina Kern. How are you doing today?
I'm good. So, funny story. It's actually pronounced Nina.
Nina, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. My parents hate me, so they did that just to confuse everybody.
Oh, thanks for the clarification. So, the first question I wanted to ask before we play our get to know each other game is, how is it being a female comedian?
It's definitely interesting. Luckily, in Chicago, there is a very strong female comedic presence. So it's not as challenging as I think it would be in some other areas. Like, I'm originally from Ohio.
Right.
And so I think if I was trying to pursue or get started in comedy in the Cleveland area, I think I would have a lot harder of a time just because there's a smaller comedic presence there in general.
Right.
And which then means that there's way less women comedians.
Right.
But it is definitely interesting because, it's no secret that comedy is a male-dominated field, and as a lot of fields are. But, you definitely deal with harassment. You definitely deal with people not taking you seriously for your art and just trying to have sex with you is the only, it's blunt, but
that's the truth.
That's the truth.
Right.
I mean, I've definitely been booked on things where I was like, are you booking me for my talent, or are you just trying to sleep with me because you asked me out after you booked me on your show?
Right.
So,
sounds skeptical.
Yeah. It's but I think it's getting better. It's definitely getting better. Maybe I'm a little too bold to say this, but I do think the pandemic helped a little bit. There's been a lot of rise in women's Zoom shows, women-led shows, things like that I didn't know about, or either I didn't know about it, or the pandemic really did help women band together and kind of get these things up and running.
Right.
But I have seen a rise in female-produced shows via Zoom since the pandemic happened.
Nice. Yeah. That I've been talking with other people, and they've been saying that this whole pandemic with Zoom auditions and Zoom plays and movies and stuff has really given actors a lot more opportunities than they would have just going to the set and being on the set, because you're not really guaranteed to get one. But now there's a lot more opportunity with Zoom calls and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Because fact of the matter is you can be on a Zoom comedy show that the host is in California, and then 2 hours later I can be on a show that's being produced. Actually, I should have flip-flopped them. Produced in New York first, and then produced it. But, I can't be all these places at once, but when I can actually do it from my own living room, it gives you more of an opportunity.
Exactly.
I would agree with that.
The last person I interviewed, he did a poetry contest in Australia and over Zoom. So, and he was telling me, he didn't have to leave his family to book a flight and leave for a week to go to Australia. He could do it right from the confines of his home. So, and it was a really good opportunity for him.
Yeah, one of my friends actually a couple of my friends, they did shows in South Africa, and it was they probably never would have been able to actually do that if this hadn't have happened.
Right.
Now, I will say I want to go to Australia so bad, so if I couldn't actually go, I'd be pretty pissed.
Right.
But it's definitely given a lot of opportunity that wasn't originally, or that we didn't have before, that we hadn't tapped into yet.
Right. Yeah. I wanna go to Tokyo. That's one place I want to go to. And acting, I've done some research, and acting isn't really prominent there. So I think it would be a good outlet to expand and get bigger there.
Yeah. So I don't know if I actually lived in Japan for a year.
Nice.
Right after college, and I definitely missed out on some acting opportunities that I when I moved there, my focus was to teach English, and I didn't really look into acting opportunities that much, and that's on me. Just because I was like, I'm not Japanese, I don't speak Japanese, there's not going to be a market. Also, my job was 5 days a week and pretty like demanding.
Right.
So it would have been very hard for me to even pursue acting while I was there. Now, I wasn't in Tokyo, I was in Osaka.
Right.
But
nice.
There's definitely a market for people over there who are foreigners, because there's a serious lack of diversity in the country. And so it's interesting the opportunities that are provided there. I had a friend who was French, and he got like quite a few acting gigs. He's not an actor, but
right.
because he was a minority in the country, he booked a lot of stuff.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is like what's difficult being a comedian?
I think something that's really difficult, and part of this speaks back to being a female comedian. I think it's hard when, you go to open mics and stuff like that, and, the room, they're open mics.
Right.
And so the room isn't filled with an audience. The room is filled with other comedians.
Right.
And I have felt this as a woman comic, that I have gone up and had a stronger performance than a lot of the male comics, but there's a lot of men who I think feel intimidated by female comedians, and so they won't laugh. They won't laugh at your stuff. They won't give you positive feedback. They'll just like sit there and be non-reactive. And so you're like, am I even any good?
Right.
Is this like... But then the other problem is it's not just women. Like, everybody's focused on, like, what their set's going to be. And I've been guilty of this, too, where I was like, I wanted to go up and have my set memorized, and I'm sitting looking at my phone, like, making sure that I hit all my points,
right.
memorizing my points while someone else is performing. So I do think sometimes it's hard to get feedback and things like that. I think that's a really difficult part about being a comedian. Another thing is that you have to devote a lot of time and energy into this craft. Anybody who is in the arts
right.
has to devote a lot of time and energy into their craft. And I've been paid a handful of times to do comedy, but it was like always under $30. Like, it was like $30 or under, which I know every time I got paid, I didn't think I was getting paid. So then I was like, sick, dinner.
Right.
But
right.
it's like I have to devote all this time and energy to my craft, but then it doesn't pay the bills. So
right.
sometimes that's another thing. And it's the same with acting too.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit, well, it's not a little bit, it is difficult.
It is.
Because you unfortunately have to pay your rent.
Right.
And eat.
Right.
And stuff.
And you're gonna get like 7 no's before you get a yes. And like that's one thing about acting, is just you gotta have that ability to be able to take a no. That's what I've learned over the years of acting. I started my acting down south in North Carolina and Georgia, some parts of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Nashville, and then I came back to my home state of PA, and I did acting in Philadelphia, and then now I transitioned out to here. And eventually, I do plan to go out west, because acting out west is where predominantly it really is. And the reason I moved to Chicago was because of the opportunity, and I think with this year, my personal experiences and interviewing other actors like yourself and others, there's just been a lot more opportunities, especially in the Chicago area and surrounding Illinois area.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I moved here as well, because I felt like I wasn't ready to move to New York or LA.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, let me get my feet wet in Chicago. My original plan was, okay, move to Chicago for 3 to 5 years, see how I do, and then decide, do I want to make a move or do I want to stay?
Right.
And so obviously the pandemic also
affected that.
You know, as much as it did provide opportunities, it also took away a lot of
yes.
Like realistically, it took away a lot of opportunities, a lot of like, yes, I'm doing these. I've been lucky enough to book some things that I can film from home, but at the same time, it's like I can't use that stuff for my reel. I can't, you know, things like that. So it's definitely, but I'm not unique. Everybody has been set back from this. Right. So we'll see what ends up happening.
Right. Have you booked any like roles that people may know in the past that you'd like to share?
I did a commercial in the spring for West Suburban Bank.
Nice.
So if you live in the suburbs, you might have seen it.
Nice.
Other than that, I'm pretty unnotable.
I wouldn't say that.
I did just do I did wrap a web series in the fall, but it's not out yet.
Awesome. What's that called?
I don't know if I'm allowed to. And then, like there's a couple things that haven't been released yet.
Right, understandable.
I'm not sure I can be like, this is what this is.
Right.
But as soon as I get the info, as soon as I get the clear to share it, I will. But and then there was another web series that I filmed 2 summers ago when I first moved here. But that also has not been released, and it may be not a web series. It may just end up being a feature. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But when those get released, you might know me from those. But until then, I am a nobody.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. To be on the lookout. And you also have a podcast yourself. Would you like to?
I do.
Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my friend from work and I, Kashan Bachelor, he and I started a podcast. So this is actually his love child. This is his baby. And then he needed a co-host, and he asked me to join. So I will say that Kashan works on it a lot harder than I do. I reap the benefits, and I just show up and try to derail the podcast the whole time. That's what my job is. Right. But so it's called White Collars, Red Hands, and it is a podcast about white collar crime. And we look at one of the big things, and one of the reasons Kashan was really passionate about this, and then I also, upon starting it, was like, yeah, this is messed up. Like, what the heck? He wants to we want to showcase how, it's no secret that the privileged and the rich get off easier and have an easier time in this country. Like, obviously. But, we wanted to bring to light some of these, like, really crazy things where people have done, even though it's white collar crime, people have destroyed others' lives. People have been murdered through these things. There's been a lot of very horrific things that have happened from these white collar crimes, and justice is very rarely served.
Yeah.
And, we see petty crimes all the time where people are incarcerated for way longer than they ever should have been incarcerated for, or are in jail for, being accused of a crime they didn't commit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and how messed up that is. And we wanted to showcase that. Yeah.
One that is recent that I'm pretty passionate about is the Kyle Rittenhouse situation. He just posted his $2 million bail, and he will be awaiting trial in front of a jury, and a jury is going to decide if he's guilty of first degree murder and the other charges he's against. And I just have a bad feeling about it because rich and white privilege get off easy, and it just goes back to like another story years ago of a kid who got accused of stealing a backpack that he didn't, and he served 3 years in Rikers Island in New York, and he killed himself over a crime he didn't do. and he was African American, and that's just an example of, how you were just saying, it's no secret that whites get off easier than other minorities in this country.
Well, right, and I don't know if you're familiar, but yesterday Brandon Bernard was
he was executed.
Although he was an accomplice to the crime, he didn't actually commit the crime.
Exactly.
He never should have even gotten the death penalty.
Exactly.
And so it's very frustrating, and I think, and he and I are white, that's not a secret, but I think that us being white and being able to showcase these things and saying, hey, this is fucked up and this is not okay.
Right.
Hopefully will bring people like us to the other side and make them realize that these things aren't okay.
Right.
And maybe persuade an audience that maybe wouldn't normally be persuaded.
Yeah, and I was seeing a statistic that since 1972, there's been 11 executions in the U.S., and 6 of them have been under the Trump administration. So it's pretty crazy.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I would look.
That's insane.
Yeah, I would look into that. Yeah, there's been because it was.
I'm gonna write that down actually.
Yeah, I was reading the Bernard articles, and one of the articles said that since 1972, there's been 11 executions in the U.S., and 6 of them have been under the Trump administration. So more than half have been under Trump, which is just crazy. And especially like you said, he shouldn't have gotten the death penalty for being an accomplice. And that's just
right.
And that's just one of millions of examples of minorities, and especially African Americans, who get a lot more of a harsher punishment and either get the death penalty or take their own lives because they can't take it sometimes. And it's, as being half African American, every time I see these articles or videos, it just pains me deep into my soul, and that's why I protest. That's why I get more educated, always reading, and then I also try to use this platform and other to try and get awareness out there. So that's just. Yeah, it's a crazy world out here.
It is. Unfortunately, it is.
All right, so would you like to get into this game?
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm going to pull the pack out. I'm going to pick different cards than what I sent you for you.
Perfect. All right, so what is the most fun you've ever had with strangers?
I do think that one of them, the one that comes to mind, is when I was in Japan. My ex-boyfriend and I were visiting a castle, and we were leaving, and people were there's a park beside it, and people were having picnics, and this random family was like, "Come join our picnic," and we were like. Because he was French, I'm obviously American.
Right.
People don't do that. Really, they don't really do that here.
Right.
And so that is a cultural difference. And we were hesitant, but then we just joined this random family's picnic, and it was actually super fun.
Right.
So
awesome.
that was probably the most fun I've had with strangers.
Awesome.
Yes. When was the last time you laughed so hard that you cried?
Probably seeing. Speaking of comedians, I saw Kevin Hart in Philadelphia, and it was his. It was his What Now tour, and I literally laughed so hard that I was crying, and my stomach was hurting, and we actually had good seats and like it was a really good experience. And that was like probably the first. That was one of that's the only comedian show I went to. So.
Nice.
So the comedian show of Kevin Hart.
Nice.
All right. We're binging tonight. Pick a show and a snack.
Okay. Big Mouth just came out.
Dude, yeah. Perfect.
I have not finished the season yet.
It's great.
Oh my god, it's so good. I think I'm on episode 6 or 7.
Oh yeah.
But I would gladly go back to episode 1 and binge the entire thing, and then
Big Mouth is awesome.
But I've been trying to savor it because I just love this show so much. I'm like, let me just stretch it out. Let me just see how long. I did the same thing with Schitt's Creek when the new season came out. I was like, all right, stretch it out, savor it. Then we could go back later and like not really watch it. Like, watch it, but not really watch it.
Yeah.
And then the snack, something salty, I think. Probably chips.
What kind?
Dill pickle chips, preferably.
Dill pickle chips.
I like dill pickle chip. And then maybe some chocolate.
Sounds good.
Yes.
All right.
I forgot it was my turn. What was the strangest nickname you've ever been given?
Either Bug or Girly Mon. Bug, I got picked on in middle school. I had my glasses, so people always called me Bug because I look like a bug. And then my little cousin, Ethan, he was 4, and he just would call me Girly Mon all the time. And like I was younger than I am now, so it made me upset. So like I'd chase him around the house. But yeah, those are the only 2 weird nicknames I've ever been called. All right, would you trust me to pierce your ear 80s style?
Sure.
Nice.
I pierced my own ear before.
I used to have my ears pierced. I got them pierced when I was 15 in New Jersey.
Nice. I've had a lot of ear piercings in my life. At one point, I had like 10. It was ridiculous. It was too much. I don't know what I was trying to. That was my rebellion.
Right.
I had all these earrings. But at the time, I worked at a deli, and I had to wear a visor. And so it would, like, rub against the cartilage ones all the time, and they never healed. Those ones are closed, but all my lobe ones, I still have 3 in each lobe. But, one time in high school, I had the earrings that they, like, pierce your ears with at the mall. Right. So they were sharp on the end, and I was trying to put it in the second hole. This is so funny because I just told my roommate this story the other day, and I was trying to put it in, and it wouldn't go in, and so I finally got it in, and I was like, why did that hurt so bad? Well, I missed the hole, and I actually pierced my ear.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, it hurt so bad. So, yeah, I'd let you pierce my ear 80s style. I'm not, if I can do that.
Right.
It's fine.
Wow.
It's fine.
I don't think I'd pierce my own ears. So I'd let you pierce mine.
Yeah, I would make sure it was clean. I'd bring the rubbing alcohol and a needle.
Sanitation is key.
Yeah. An apple. They always put an apple
in
the ear.
In Parent Trap style.
Yes. And don't they heat the needle or something?
Yeah, they heat it. Yeah, they put it in alcohol and they heat it.
Why do they heat it? So it'll go through easier?
Yeah, I think your cartilage, like, I don't want to say, like, I think your cartilage reacts some way with heat, so I think that's why they do it. But don't quote me on that.
There was this girl I went to high school with who pierced her own belly button, but...
Yikes.
She was so stupid. She pierced it with a safety pin. I don't know how the hell she did this. But then, okay, I don't don't know what you know about belly button rings, but they actually use a hollow tool to pierce it. So, yeah, so it's not like an earring. It's not like a thin piece of metal. It's like a hollow tube that, because I had my belly button pierced for a little bit. So she pierced her belly button with a safety pin, but then couldn't put any belly button rings in it because it was the size of a safety pin, not the size of the tube.
Wow.
She's trying to prove something. She also was trying to prove something. I don't know what she was trying to prove, but
right. You're
mad at her parents and pierced her belly button.
Right. What high school did you go to?
So it's called Lake Center Christian School.
Oh.
It was in Ohio.
That explains it.
There was a lot of rebellion going on there.
Yeah, that explains it just by the name of the.
Yeah. Yes. I got in trouble all the time for my earrings because we were only supposed to have like one lobe piercing. We weren't allowed to like wear more than one, and I would get in trouble constantly for having too many earrings in my ears. And I just look back and I'm like, I could have been doing drugs.
Right.
And I was getting in trouble for my earrings. Like, it was so stupid, but
yeah, my mom.
A lot of people piercing things because they were upset.
My mom went to a school like that when she was in high school, and at her school, you literally could not have. You had to wear skirts below your knees, and you couldn't. I forget. She said she was a cheerleader, and you couldn't be lifted because they didn't want anybody to see your undergarments. And it was just the story she would tell me, and she was like, yeah, she was very rebellious, and she was friends with everybody, so yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have uniforms, which I always thought was really stupid because our dress code was so strict that it we should have just had a uniform. It would have been easier. But we had a rule that the girls, we had to be able to, our pants were too tight if you couldn't roll a marble down your pants. Yeah, you had to be able to like roll a marble down the leg of your pants.
And what how did they just actually make you girls do that?
So I was a weirdo in high school, so I loved.
I was too. It's all good.
Yeah, I had all sorts of issues, but I loved super baggy clothes, and so like I was ridiculous. I was like, I will save time if my pants are so big that I don't have to unbutton them to like go to the bathroom if they just fall down. So I would always wear pants that were like 2 to 3 sizes too big anyway. So I never got in trouble for this. I never had to go to the office and do this. But rumor had it that if your pants were too tight, you had to go to the principal's office, and her name was Miss Calco, so it was a woman principal, and you had to like roll the marble down, be able to roll the marble down your pants in her office.
Wow.
Yeah, I never had to do it, but those were the legend has it.
And is that school still up and running today?
It is. It's alive and kicking.
Wow.
Alive and kicking.
That's awesome.
I think that I don't know if they close. So this is in Ohio, mind you, and they are not taking COVID very seriously, and they're like, schools are not shut down there yet. So I think that they're still in school right now, but it's definitely still a school.
All right. Well, let's each ask one more question.
Sounds good.
All right.
What is your greatest style-related regret as an adult, and have you glowed up since?
What does that really mean? What does that mean?
So, I guess that like since you turned 18, did you do anything style-wise that's like really embarrassing? Well, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Oh, okay, because I'm a little bit older than you, so I can like go back farther.
Right.
I guess since the time. Well, but you're still 5 years after you're 18.
Yeah.
So.
Well.
Have you done any style regrets since you've turned 18?
Yeah, I used to wear jorts. I used to wear jean shorts. When I first started community college. So, and that was when I was 18. So, I'd say that. But I used to be really fat in high school, and over the past 3 to 4 years, I lost over like 120 pounds. So,
wow.
So that's probably that's the good style change that I'm proud of. So, but I don't regret that. So, yeah.
Nice.
All right, and then my final question is, what movie or TV character do I remind you of?
Oh. Well, this is hard. I feel like it might change if I got to know you better.
Right.
Because this is the first time I'm actually meeting you.
Right.
Buster Baxter from Arthur. That's the one that...
I'm so dead. That's a good one. I will take it.
Yeah, you seem like a Buster.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the bunny, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. I said the right one.
Yep.
Because for a second I was like, wait, I thought Binky might be Buster.
No.
I was like, not Binky Barnes. You're not a Binky Barnes.
Yeah.
You're a Buster Baxter.
Awesome. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, that was another episode of the What's Going On People podcast. Thank you, Nina.
Yes.
So, that's how you say it, Nina. Nina. Thank you, Nina. Any would you like to say your social media for the podcast?
Oh, yeah, for sure. My social media, if you want to follow me on Instagram, is at I am Nina Kern, NINAKERN. Take a listen to the podcast, White Collars, Red Hands. It is available on wherever you like to get your podcasts. We drop new episodes every Friday at 2 p.m. And there is also I do have an Instagram account for it. Is it like super awesome?
Yeah.
But it's at White Collars _Red Hands. So give us a follow.
And that has been another episode. Thank you, guys.